Hey Colt fans, JB from Colt here, and welcome to this week's Topic Tuesday. This week we're going to take a look at the new Colt Revolver grips and sights and let you know which ones are interchangeable and how to change them. Enjoy. So first on the grips, on the 2017 Cobra and King Cobra frames, regardless of the model, they're all compatible with each other when it comes to the grips. This means if you have a Night Cobra and you'd like to put a Hoe Grip on it from a standard Cobra, all you need is the grip and the associated hardware, which in the case of the Hoe Grip is the saddle and the pin, which fits over the bottom of the frame. If you have a Hoe Grip and want to switch to a wood grip such as this King Cobra Target Grip from Altamont, you'll remove the saddle and install the appropriate hardware for that grip, which in the case of most wood grips is going to be a set of pins and a tensioning screw called an escutcheon screw. So to install these grips, we're actually just going to take these pins, make sure they're in whatever locations they're supposed to be in that grip. And then we've got a frame pin here that's going to go into the bottommost part of the frame, and then slide those on. On the escutcheon screw, be very careful with over tightening. Most of the time, this is a small, fine threaded screw that screws into a brass bushing with a torque spec of somewhere in the 3 to 5 pound neighborhood. So if you over tighten it, you will strip this screw. So again, for the Hoe Grip, we're just going to put the saddle on the frame. This pin actually goes into the top hole that's at the bottom of the frame here. And then we're just going to install this saddle over the pin. And then this is really just to hold it in place. Once there's tension on the bottom screw, it'll actually kind of pull that grip up and it'll keep it from moving around. But while you're installing this, sometimes it gets a little difficult to get in there. There we go. And then again, you're going to want to line this saddle up with the sort of the channel that's in the Hoe Grips that kind of comes down like this, and then push that in. And then, you know, if you got your screw already in there, it's going to kind of pop up and you can go ahead and tighten it. We do get some questions time to time whether it's a good idea to Loctite grip screws. I can tell you emphatically no. There's a really good chance you're going to screw up the grip screw if you start Loctiting grip screws. This one in particular is kind of held in by the rubber surrounding it, so it's sort of given some tension by that, so there's really definitely no need to Loctite any of this stuff. On the 2020 Pythons, the grips are of course the same on the 4 1/4 and the 6-inch models, but are also largely compatible with older Python grips to include all of the OEM grips that we used here at Colt. Just be aware that some older Revolver grips were made to require some minor fitting when they're installed. So the OEM wood grips on the new Python have a similar small escutcheon screw that I mentioned on the Cobra, which has a torque spec of only 3 inch-pounds on the Python. So be careful not to over tighten or damage the screw or the bushing that it goes into that's on the bottom grip. Okay, the second part I'm going to talk about is front sights. I've mentioned this before quickly on the spec video, but the Python, Cobra, and King Cobra front sights are all compatible with one another. What that means is whether it's the fiber optic front sight from the King Cobra Target or the original Cobra, the brass bead front sight from the King Cobra, the new finished Cobra, the night sight from the Night Cobra, or the ramped sight from the Python, they all can be interchanged. They all install with a 50 thousandths hex set screw at the muzzle, and we do recommend just a dab of blue Loctite on the set screw when you install it. The torque spec on the set screw is only 4.5 inch-pounds. And also, depending on the configuration of the front sight, you may find that changing the sight requires adjustment of the rear sight of the Python or King Cobra target elevation. The sights are the same height, but kind of to the preference of your sight picture, especially when you're switching back and forth from, let's say, a ramp sight to a fiber optic sight. So there you have it, Colt fans. That's everything you wanted to know about grips and sights on the new Colt revolvers. Make sure you leave us some comments below, and we'll see you next week on Topic Tuesday.